Are you able to hear me? Can anybody confirm?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening. So, let's, I do not know what are your expectations from me, but let me try to give you some flavor of education in general and higher education in particular. I do not understand primary education and secondary education, but I should be able to react on higher education in particular. You can write your question in the chat box. I will continuously monitor it and shall try to address your problem if possible. I do not know if it will be to your satisfaction or not, but you'll have the interaction session where you can one by one unmute yourself and react. But you have to listen to me also for some time in 2 sessions, okay? Let's say we shall promise that we will not speak more than 50 minutes in the first hour and followed by 50 minutes in the second hour. And in between we will have 10-minute discussion, right? And 10-minute break. And that is how I propose to go. Is that fine for everybody? Can anybody write in the chat box? Is this proposal okay? Yes, thank you very much. That means now it is a two-way communication and we can go ahead. Great, dear. Thank you very much. So, let me start by asking you a question. How many of you have gone through NEP 2020? You just have to write, yes, sir, I have gone through it, not more than that. How many of you have gone to the implementation section? Implementation section. How many number of pages are there in the implementation section? You can see your mobile PDF and finally let us know so that everybody can verify. Do you have implementation section in the NEP 2020? Okay, no problem. You can.
So there are 44 pages in the implementation plan.
34 pages and
44, 44 pages.
You are saying page number or pages?
Pages, total pages.
Of?
Implementation plan.
In the PDF, and how big is the PDF of NEP 2020 as passed by the Parliament? Please check and tell so that everybody knows.
Is it 66 or 67?
Not, I am asking you to check and tell me. Therefore, the number of pages that you are saying implementation for so many number of pages cannot be correct if the total draft itself is of 67 pages. Not draft, sorry, act. I stand corrected. Draft was used, as you must be knowing. Okay, but that's beside the point, and we have to make some opening remark, and that opening remark is related to yes, 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 Devjit, you are correct, and can you tell me that where is the implementation pages, number of pages? If you have opened the PDF, please go to the implementation section and let the audience know. Devjit. Hardly 2 pages. That means we need to read it line by line, okay, to be more precise. So, yes. So, whoever was telling me for 44 pages, they should get it. I have gone through along with my students, and it is around 2 pages, not more than 2 pages. So that's not the purpose. The purpose is to check that we are familiar with NEP 2020. And we must ask ourselves a question that how are we going to flourish in higher education? I understand that we have college teachers and the university teachers, but this is going to be about higher education in general. So what should be the purpose of education policy in general in our country? I think, and I shall give some documentary evidence that it is indeed so, that it should be able to conform to the basic tenet of our constitution. And what is the basic tenet of our thank you. Right. So what is the basic tenet of that we must conform to? That relates to scientific outlook and temper. So, and why it is so important for us to realize this? It is important for all of us to realize this, because those of you who are a student of modern Indian history would know that the Constitution took shape during our freedom struggle, during our freedom movement, and it was realized that we need to have a scientific outlook, otherwise India cannot progress. So this is one of the primary purpose of education. It should permit you to ask questions. It should permit you to learn how to solve a given question, and it should also permit you to be a nice human being. I think if I'm given the freedom, I will choose that education should make us nice human being. And what is meaning of this? This is not a qualitative statement. Rather, this can be quantified. How do we behave? So, this scientific outlook is a revolutionary change in the method that our nation are supposed to be practicing. After 1947, although the processes started in late 30s, but that time we were not free India, we were colony of British India. And what was the foremost transition? Revolutionary means that there is some kind of great change. And what was the great change? Post 1947. The great change was of the following type. Prior to 1947, we were subject of British colony, colonial power, whatever you want to say that. But after 1947, and to be more precise, after the enforcement of the constitution that we have given ourselves, we have become citizen. Once we have become citizen, we all are equal. If we all are equal, then where is the caste difference and the religious difference should be coming? Cannot, because all citizens are equal. This is the first theorization. So education must do this much. This is the minimum that is expected. That means the students coming to our classes, we shall not be asking such questions because it is against the constitutional morality. It is against the constitution. We shall admit everybody, right, if they are qualified. And that qualified is a local statement. Locally, I can say that academically, my classroom strength is 100, I cannot admit more than 100. That is perfectly fine. But out of this 100, it has to be an inclusive population. One of the emphasis of NEP 2020 is that you must make inclusive method. Some inclusion has to be there. It cannot be exclusion. That you cannot be excluding somebody because he or she is poor. He or she belongs to some caste, or he or she belongs to some religion that we don't like. This should not happen. And that is what education gives you, to ask question from within. So the first revolutionary change that has happened, that has taken place, was that we all have become citizens. Everybody who is a participant, they all have the equal right. Right? You can simply ask me, Ki, sir, what you are talking is nonsense, in the chat box, and I shall try to understand it and appreciate it. This is the most important fact. This is the most important change that has taken place. Had I been a British professor prior to 1947, it would have been my prerogative whether to admit X or Y or Z. This cannot happen. Constitution makes that we all are equal. We all are equal in the following sense of the term. It is, we are equal in view of justice for all, and this justice includes social, economic, and political. Then each of us have the liberty of thought, expression, belief, and worship. Each of us have equality of status and of opportunity. And we are supposed to be promoting fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual. And therefore, all national policies must keep these ideals as the starting point. How are you going to implement is a different question. But ideally, at the level of the idea, we have to remember this. So therefore, we as teachers, whenever we are trying to implement, we shall keep the constitution in our thought process. Particularly, in education, in classes, if you make any kind of distinction between one group to the other, it has very, very wrong signal, and let us consciously try to avoid it. I'm sure all my teachers are very nice and kind-hearted. They must be treating their students equally, but yet the problems comes sometime, and therefore I'm reminding you. This is a request, okay, that we all should be doing that. And this is a request not from the RK Mandal. This is the imperative on all of us. The Constitution charges us, no, you are supposed to be like this only. Is that in order? One of should react that the Constitution is important, and in all our endeavors, we should be conforming to that constitutional morality. Is this a statement in order, so that I can move forward? One of you should react, and finally I will move forward. Now I make a statement. Thank you. Now I am trying to make a statement. See, if it is important or not. What is that? If all this constitutional morality is so obvious, then what for you require education system? You require education system to appreciate the finer nuances, right, of these ideals, and also show us the path, so the political masters that look to fulfill the ambition of our forefathers. We are supposed to be doing this, and this. And in case you want to give a prescription, the first thing is that you should have the dispassionate inquiry about the problem. And higher education system is a place where we all can sit down together and try to threadbare discussion any topic in the domain of our interest. Be it physics, be it chemistry, be it botany, history, social sciences, literature, performing arts or visual arts, everything taken together. All human endeavors that permits you to be a human being must be taken into account. That's why you say university means every kind of human activities, all human endeavors must be included. And therefore, universities have a very, very important role to accomplish. Does it mean that school education does not have any meaning? If we are making this statement, does it mean that university system is only important and others are not? I think this is a very, very wrong notion. So if you look at the 66 or 67 pages of the document that we have, what you find is it begins with primary education. This is how it should be. Then is school education. Then it comes to higher education. This is how it should be. Now, let us try to connect it. That why do you want that the primary education, school education, and college education and the university education, they must be connected. They must be connected because input of university education, that is the students I am referring to, they are coming after 10+2. So, you want to admit good students, right? Everybody would like to admit good students because they are good. They will be able to appreciate what you are teaching in the class. So good students are produced in the good schools. And good schools cannot be the boundary, cannot be building. Good schools require good teachers, and good teachers are good graduates, and graduates are produced in. What is the problem? Yes, Vidya, what is your question? Do you have a question? Please, why are you raising your hands? So now, in case it is so, then the question is how to produce good graduates. And good graduates means good university, good college system. And continuously, in case your input is good, for that you require very good school education. As I have told you, I do not understand school education very well, so I shall now henceforth be trying to dwell everything pertaining to higher education. And one of the central theme is that education must be discussed in relation to society. After all, everything that we are doing is for the society at large. First, within our boundary, that is the national boundary, then beyond the boundary, and in the long run, human being as a whole, ecology as a whole. These are some of the terminology that we started adding in our discourse. Previously, we were not concerned about ecology and the balance between the human activities and the natural resources. But these are now imperative. Many of us are experiencing it, right? Suddenly, there is a heavy rainfall in the 50 kilometers away from your place, and your place doesn't get rain at all. Somebody has to think of it. Somebody has to rationalize it. Landslides, Wayanad and Josimat, these are some of the examples that university system must be aware of. If university system cannot do proper work, who is going to do the proper work? University system must be supported by the government. Otherwise, we cannot do this in a dispassionate way. If somebody is giving you money for investigating, then the science and society interaction will be halted. Your balanced growth, ecologically balanced growth, the concept, the notion will be challenged. They will say, you get me a technology because I belong to a technological institution. That's why I'm constructing it. I can construct it even for political science. Absolutely no problem. So you get me this technology as quickly as possible, right? If you are trying to do research because somebody has given you the money, you require money, that I agree. But in case you are trying to fulfill the target as per the dictates of somebody else, other than your institution. Your institution means your academic council, your senate, your board of governors, your executive council, right? Your demand of the discipline. This is the most crucial. The demand of the discipline must be taken into account. And what is the demand of the discipline? That until I evaluate the technology that I have advanced, is it going to have uses? Will it destroy our nature? Will it create some ecological problem? Let me scrutinize it. And this is what I was using the term dispassionate. Okay? So you are supposed to find out, you have to go to the bottom of the thing. And how do you go to the bottom of the thing? Through scientific outlook and through scientific temper. Now, this scientific temper, I will recall a very great cosmologist, Professor Herman Bondi. He wrote in Current Science, this is a journal, Indian journal, very important and prestigious journal, Current Science. He wrote in 1996 in Current Science on the scientific temper. And I request you, because I'll be reading him for the benefit of all of us. I don't want to distort, I don't want to get you the meaning of that only. I want you how he writes in Current Science. He writes, and I'm quoting it. Once I say unquote, that means his statement is over. Otherwise, we'll keep reading it. And you give me 1 to, I think maybe 2.5 minutes, not more than that. He raises a question in his article, The Scientific Temper, that why is science so universal? Surely, the only explanation can be that the method and outlook correspond to traits shared by all humans, that it is adjusted to a common human characteristic. Then he goes on to add, our task is to combine respect for variety of individuals with the need to foster a feeling of commonality, inclusion. Are you able to see that? It talks of inclusion. The only way we can do justice to all is by political democracy. The only way to respect range of religious belief is to have fully secular state. Then he says, India has look at the wonderful adjective that he gives. India has a splendid constitution. And therefore I begin with the constitution, right? Those of you who have gone through during the high school days or the school days, we the people of India, you must have noted that I was reading from the constitution. Why I was reading from the... Herman Bondi is a cosmologist par excellence, Baba. And now he is reminding us about the splendid Indian constitution. So let me read his language again. India has a splendid constitution, embodying the words secular, democratic, and the scientific temper. One can have, so now his statement is over, one can have a better world if they prevail across the boundaries of nation. Indirectly, I am trying to advocate that if you have democracy, if you have scientific temper, if you have the sense of equality of all, if you have the sense of inclusion, then this is the best way of making a better, worth living world. So whenever, now a word of caution, whenever we talk of scientific outlook and temper, then we tend to feel only science and engineering, which I'm going to prove it as the discussion progresses, that it is uniquely wrong. I have not done research on education per se, but I'm going to quote you some of the greatest people in the area of education. Basically, they are the philosopher of education philosopher. They understand education in a manner that is worth listening to them. It says that for democracy to succeed and excellence to flourish on our campuses, this is my statement. I'm saying that in case democracy has to succeed, and if the excellence has to prevail on our campuses, then it should be our endeavor to make them way of life. And what is them? Scientific outlook and scientific temper for better tomorrow. Better tomorrow doesn't mean science and engineering. A man cannot survive just on material needs. He or she requires mental comfort apart from the luxury of material comfort. And for that, also you require a class intellectual, class literary work, class literary performing arts, and all such things. Recently, I was going through Professor Palat. He was a professor of history. I think he has superannuated, and he wrote a couple of articles in Hindu, 2021 to 2022. 5, 6, I think he must have compiled a book also. He quotes the following, and I request you to scrutinize that why scientific temper and scientific method cannot be confined to science and engineering. The scientific temper that Nehru is lauded, Jawaharlal Nehru, is lauded for, is more akin really to a free and fearless soaring of creative thought. It says that in case you want a creative thought, those of you, if anybody is from the music, dance in particular, they talk of upaj. Even in tabla also they talk of upaj. Right? I'm referring to that. That upaj is a totally scientific term, where the artist is trying to create new things on the stage itself. Upaj, I think this is what in Kathak Nrit, definitely it is upaj, that I know it. They must be telling, even the Banaras Gharana of Tabla also says it is upaj, where the artist is free to create on the stage. So creative thoughts requires that you should be able to be scientific, right? When the upaj is going on, that time the artist doesn't make any mistake. Those who understand music, those who understand dance, they will be able to say that no, she is still at the same place, or he is still at the same place. Okay? So the rhythm doesn't change. Thoda technical hai, rhythm ka, I'm not sure if I have got the right word. but I understand the spirit of it. So therefore, can we think of education without free and fearless soaring of creative thought? This is my comment. Pala said that Nehru wanted that scientific temper and scientific outlook are essential for free and the fearless soaring of creative thoughts. Can you think of a university system? Can you think of education system without free and the fearless soaring of creative thoughts? Those of you who remember Rabindranath Tagore will recollect. He says that chitta jata bhay shunno. What does it mean? Where the mind is free and head is held high. In university system, the mind should be free. You should be fearless. If we are not fearless, then it will be difficult for us to go for, what is that term? Creative thoughts. Creative thought requires that. Now, I construct that what should be the purpose of education? Suppose that any fresh student is coming at any level. By fresh education, by fresh student, I mean that suppose that somebody is coming to class 1 or class 10 or first year of graduation. What are going to be his expectation? I don't know if they are aware of the expectation. So what should the teacher first be doing? He or she involved in the process of teaching should open the window, right? You should not close it. No question of closing it. Not like our window of our house, that we have window, we have glass, then we have curtain, then we have mosquito net, and finally, I cannot see outside the beautiful world that is there. This cannot be the purpose of education. The purpose of education is to open the window. So therefore, all my teachers, you should also recommend textbook that will open his creative thought process. That means any textbook that you prescribe must have a series of references at the end of it. So that suppose that I am interested in a particular chapter that my teacher has taught, I can go to that reference. Okay, in this chapter, here is the best text available, well-researched text. Then I can go and do that. So one of the thing is to open the window. Expansion of knowledge, as Professor Rajiv Sangal used to tell, whenever the first year student used to come on our campus, he used to say expansion of knowledge, and I used to say there is a great difference between specialization and excellence, right? Until you ask this question, I'm not going to clarify what I mean by that. Okay, so I want to quote it. I'm tempted to quote Rabindranath Tagore again. One quote I have given you, but another beautiful quote is there that Professor Jaspal in his report, education report, has given, right? Can anybody write what was the first Education Commission report in free India, in independent India? Please write. You can take time. You can open the mobile and get me the answer. I can wait for you. I'm not a teacher that I'll be covering whatever I have come prepared for. No, that's not the way. I'm going to quote. Please remind me if I do not give you the answer to this question. By the best teacher of the world, one of the best teachers of the world. What is that? First Education Commission, Baba. No, that means either you all have left me and I am alone here. Yes, that is correct. 1949, Second Commission report. Second Commission report. Nee. As you have given the name of Professor Radhakrishnan, like that I want the name. Arey, some of you, please check. Please check properly. Do you see Kothari Commission report? Kothari Commission report. After Radhakrishnan, the most elaborate report had come in the form of Professor D.S. Kothari. Got it. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's enough. That's enough. Yes. And look at the thank you, Anthony. Have I read your name correctly? Thank you. What I request you all to realize that Rome cannot be built in a day. The best brain has started beginning from 1964, submitted the report in 1966, if I am not mistaken. After everything taken together, the compiled report has come in 1968, that was passed by the parliament and accepted by the government. And Jaspal committee report, एक और खोज करके बता दीजिए. Jaspal committee report, please. Jaspal committee report. See what to do. I have to interact with you like this. Otherwise, you will leave me, and finally, I will not be able to know. I am speaking alone, or somebody is listening to me also. Jaspal committee report. YASHPAL. What was special about the Jaspal committee report? Special about Jaspal committee report. In that report, okay, please read it. It's a beautiful text. That's why. It starts with a wonderful text from Rabindranath Tagore. We have only one Rabindranath Tagore, that you should know, right? Yes, somebody has given me the right thing. Learning without burden. This is what the Jaspal committee report has said. And you don't interact in the class, and you ask people that yes, it should be one-way traffic. How can this go on, yaar? It cannot go on, right? So after delivering 1 hour of lecture, you should not be able to walk. You should only take a glass of water, right? Or tea, nothing else. Learning without burden is a wonderful phrase that you people have given. School without bag and all, these all are modus operandi, but I think the best is the learning without burden. I remember to have read this. Nahin, humko time dijiye. Please give me the time. So civilization and progress. See, when you people started writing, I got panic. And you deliver 50 minutes of lecture without permitting the student even to peep outside the window. How can this be true, yaar? Permit them to do sometime nonsense. Okay? And that nonsense is what? This is at the primary school level. The education system that I understand the list. But if it is by Rabindranath Tagore, then I need to understand a little bit. This is by from the Civilization and Progress, right? He used to write many essays. Those of you who are a student of literature, they must be aware. Okay, we as a student only know him because of Gitanjali and at most for Nobel Prize. No, he has written many things, and this is one of the essays that was favorite for Jaspal Committee. And what is that? When I was a child, I had the freedom to make my own toys out of trifles and create my own games from imagination. Look at that. The two things, creative thoughts. And look at this statement of Rabindranath Tagore ji. What he's saying is that anything, you remember that whenever we used to get bored in the class, how to vent our feeling? Not before the teacher, because that teachers are very different kind of animal. But I'm not. You can create trouble as much as you can talk to my student. I give them the freedom to do that. We used to make one page and finally make aeroplane and do it like this. You remember? It was imagination. Somebody used to make aeroplane, somebody used to make a bird, and finally everything was going on. In my happiness, he says, my playmates had their full share. Importance of classroom. This is not the way that you should be teaching. No, not at all. I cannot share your happiness. I'm asking you that you cannot open your video, you cannot disturb me. All these things cannot be part of a lively teaching. Lively teaching means you should be in the classroom. So happiness of my playmate were also there. In fact, the complete enjoyment of my games dependent upon their taking part in the game. This is all about the school education. This is all about university education. If we cannot dance together, if we cannot laugh together, if we cannot think together, then there is no fun of teaching here. There is no fun of having university. There is no fun of having college. There is no fun of having schools. He goes on, now you have to be serious. And you should reflect on why I am so much critical of this way of interaction through online. One day, in this paradise, look at that. What was his paradise? Where any student can come out with imagination and take out a piece of paper and finally make his imagination very, very clear, because it was not so costly that anybody could afford in the class. Therefore, it was paradise. Paradise of our childhood entered a temptation from the market world of the adult. This is also a temptation of the market world. Simply because we had corona, that doesn't mean that we should not be interacting with ourselves. A toy bought from an English shop. There was a rich man. What he has done is, he has bought a very costly toy and gave it to his son or his daughter. I do not know. He doesn't spell out whether it is son or daughter. That is immaterial. It was perfect, big, and wonderfully lifelike. That means it was just like a human being. For example, he became proud of the toy. So he enters in the class and he's a proud fellow. That means he excluded himself. It's no longer inclusion, no longer a common joy, right? And less mindful of the game. And there was no game. There were no participants. Only one hero was there, right? This education is not for hero worship, my dear friend. Excellence means we should grow together. He kept that expensive thing carefully, obviously, away from us. So that means even his batchmate, his teammates could not even touch that toy because it's very costly. So he was trying to demonstrate his exclusive possession of it, feeling himself superior to his playmates whose toys were cheap. Once there is a superiority that I am different in the class, knowledge cannot be there. Everything can be there, but not knowledge. Whatever you can, I can argue for hours together. If you give me water and some kind of food stuff, I can continuously keep working. I can continuously keep arguing, but you don't require that much of argument. Many people in the world, they understand it. If Rabindranath Tagore has realized, then how many Rabindranath Tagore we have in the world of his excellence? I am sure if he could have used the modern language of history, he would have said that he was more civilized than ourselves to the extent of his owning that ridiculously perfect toys. Right? One thing he failed to realize in his excitement, a fact which at the moment seemed to him insignificant, that his temptation obscured something a great deal more perfect than his toy, the revelation of the perfect child. Due to that perfect toy, you are losing the pleasure of becoming a perfect child. Had I been permitted to make it further, I would have said perfect human being. The statement is not yet over, so let me read it. The toy merely expressed his wealth, but not the child's creative spirit, right? Not the child's generous joy in his play together, okay? Excelling together, living together, enjoying together, laughing together, as I was saying. His open invitation to all who were his compeers to his play world. So he has avoided all those things, my dear friend. If he has avoided all those things, that means he has avoided becoming a free child. And if education system cannot make you free from all this, that means education has failed you totally. Right? Now, let me go to the appropriate page. And so, how many of you have heard Eric Majur? I'm typing something, that's why I'll take some time for before I can. Professor Eric Majur is a professor of physics at Harvard University. Can you see it? What is his specialty in education? Not his subject. That is not the point that we are interested in here. Eric Majur Professor of Harvard. What is this? Nobody is able to find out his name. What? No. You should be able to see it. He says that you should be able to create, one second, I'm typing something. You should be able to create aha moment in the class. Right? And what is this aha moment? It comes only through the participation from the students. That he or she realizes that what professor is saying, what the teacher is saying, I'm also able to see it through and through. Right? So that aha moment you have to create in the class. If you just come with a costly toy in the class, that aha moment you are losing. Right? And the purpose of education is getting defeated. Purpose of education is to enjoy together. Education system must be enjoyable. And another comment that Professor Eric Majur is saying is, nobody could see Eric Majur, is it? Can anybody say that whether Professor Eric Majur's site you are able to reach or not? Any one of you? Yes, wonderful. Now, there, he is still there. Prasad, he is still there. Okay, from Harvard, yes. So, now I'm telling you the following. He says, evaluation is a killer. It's a challenging thing. So therefore, not only the classroom should be lively, there should be a sense of participation. It should be inclusive. It cannot afford to be that only out of 100 students, only 3 will be my student, rest of them are not my student. This cannot go on like this. We have to accept the challenge and open the window. Open the window, don't close the window. I tell you that because I am from engineering college, some of the boss school of Banaras wanted me to be the chief guest. Okay, so this is a story which pains me while I am stating. What they have done is, they have forced the student for the science exhibition, helicopter model, so costly. And that helicopter model, it must have cost him a lot. The boy has not learned anything. I am sure of it. Because he has prevailed upon his father that no, I want to make a helicopter model. So all the machinists, all the people who are involved, they all were hired, their services were hired. The material were also taken from outside the city because all of them were not here. This is not the way to make it lively. For lively, whatever is available, you should be able to do something, some innovation. Innovation means what is available to you, can you utilize it in the best possible way? This is what is the availability. Right? So now, in the next part, I'm going to tell you something about the education per se, how to make, what is definition of a good university, right? How do you know that you have excelled in the university system? Two questions I'm going to address. First, I have already posed the question that society needs good teachers in the school level, right from the primary school level. And for that, you require good graduates. I posed a question that where can you produce good graduate? Good graduates are produced in good university. So now, in the next 1 hour, after some tea break, we will be talking about excellence in higher education. Right? Is this way of going ahead will be nice for all of you? Then we can break for 15 minutes and then reassemble. Is this okay? So shall we propose to reassemble after 15 minutes? 5 minute. 17:25. 17:25 we are reassembling. Is this okay? Okay. So thank you. Please join by 17:25. Thank you very much. See you again.
நைட்டு போட்டு வச்சுட்டே போயிருக்காரு.
आवाज ही नहीं आ रही। एक बार आप अपने में देखें आवाज आ रही है कि नहीं, देख क्यों नहीं ले रहे हो एक बार।
So friends, let us begin. Some of you are still not joining. I have seen 50 or something like that. Where are they? Please join. So now, in this part, I'm going to demonstrate with the help of some of the noted educationists of yesteryears, particularly 1959, just after the World War II. And I love this book simply because this seems to be relevant for us. So I shall be extensively quoting you from Carl Jasper book. I'm writing something, so please. Can anybody find out this book? This is 1959. One of you should confirm that you have got it. Others may collect from you. How many number of pages are there? PDF is freely downloadable. And whenever you have the time, please go through it. In case you are part of the university system, you'll understand what education is all about. I'm going to cover a little bit of it, not the full part of what Carl Jasper has to say. Now, what was so special about Radhakrishnan report? And I'm quoting some of the lines of Radhakrishnan report. The Radhakrishnan report is saying, within quote, higher education is undoubtedly an obligation of the state, but state aid is not to be confused with the state control over academic policies and practices. And this is what I had been emphasizing, right? What play my children are going to be practicing in the classroom, outside the classroom, in the entire premises of the school, they have to be decided by the teachers and the students themselves. Where is the Malik coming into picture? Where is the rich man coming into picture? Similarly, where is the government coming into picture? That what syllabus we are to teach, right? Syllabus are framed. Thank you, Dabjit. Yeah, this is the typical, he has got it. So, you cannot be saying that I'm funding you, therefore you have to listen to me. Jasper will be saying, prior to that our Radhakrishnan said, and I have just now quoted, simply because you have given money to the university, that does not mean that you'll be interfering in their academic policies and practices. Intellectual progress, look at the statement. intellectual progress demands the maintenance of the spirit of free inquiry. A statement that I had been saying you, scientific outlook, scientific temper, right? Expression of free expression of thought. The pursuit and practice of truth regardless of consequences. Very difficult, right? People are saying that anybody can teach. How can anybody teach? How can you preach truth? How can you investigate truth? Do you have the courage to do that? So it says, the pursuit and practice of truth regardless of consequences. Our Radhakrishnan Baba has been the ambition of the universities. All higher education system must conform to it. Otherwise, don't call that you belong to the part of a higher education system. Kothari report similarly has said the same thing. Just one sentence I want to quote you. That state's obligation to fund education but not interfere with its day-to-day functioning. Same thing what Radhakrishnan has said. Professor Kothari is also saying that no, simply because you have funded any central university, that doesn't mean that you have the right to interfere in their business. And I think sometime we have to say that please don't interfere in our business. You have academic council, as I was telling you the structure in this country. You have the academic council, you have the senate, you have the board of governors, you have the executive council. Let them decide what they are going to teach. Let them decide what they are going to delete. Let them decide in consultation with the experts. This is the most important thing. Every idiot cannot dictate us that you come and teach this. How do you teach it? You cannot teach it. Does it mean only the intellectuals? That means those people who were professors were advocating this, not the politician, not the member of parliament. I think that's not correct. So, just to give you an example, Tarachand, an MP of Rajya Sabha, on 6th of December 1965, golden days, right? Now we do not hear our MPs making such profound statement. What does he say? Exclusive control of education by the state. This is state in the, whatever the student of political science say about the state. What the constitutionalist will say, the definition of a state, has been an important factor facilitating the maintenance of totalitarian tyrannies. In case you want totalitarian tyrannies, then you permit the state to control your activities on the campuses. We must resist. He's cautioning, Tarachand is cautioning in 1965. We must resist in the case of our own democracy, for which we got a wonderful compliment from Herman Bondi in the first half. I have given you the flavor of Herman Bondi. He says, a splendid constitution. What a superlative degree he has used, right? So we must resist, Tarachand is saying, in the case of our own democracy, the trend towards the government domination of educational process. Don't see, after all, I have devoted 40 years of my precious time. And somebody tells me that how to teach physics of material and how to teach structure of materials, it will pain me, I can tell you. I do not know anything other than teaching structure of materials. So therefore, I have through that, I have learned what higher education should mean, right? So theoretically, slowly and slowly, we would like to move forward. Those of you who are interested more about reading about the idea of university and the higher education, they can follow the first one, the idea of a university defined and illustrated by Cardinal Newman, 1859. So I have taken you back 100 years, right? I am mostly going to be concentrating on 1959. I have given you a reference of 1859 for the sake of completeness. This is the first, I am told by the educationist, professor of education, that this Newman first time came out as a compilation of the idea of a university. Only the daring people like Carl Jasper can say the idea of the university. Newman has an idea of a university. Okay. The second one was 1944, the mission of the university. I have not seen both these texts because my friends have recommended that no, you must go through Carl Jasper. And I'm so grateful to the friends who are well read about the reference that they have given me. And I'm trying to pass it on to all of you. Those of you who are going to read it, I am sure you are going to be a different teacher. You are going to be a different teacher, I can assure you. So, how are you going to know that I have got the best university? How are you going to know? Can you list universities that are continuously in operation after Galileo Galilei? Continuous operation after Galileo Galilei. Do you see Oxford there? Do you see Cambridge there? I don't think the American university were existing around Galileo Galilei. So everything will be either in Italy or Rome or Paris or some other places. Spain, yes, I'm able to see it. How old is the oldest university? Continuously working. I'm not asking about the oldest university. Oldest university, in some form or the other, is continuously existing without gap. Please write down the name of that university. Go through the site. World oldest university in operation, continuous operation, they will give you. Please get me. What is the problem? See and write in the chat box. Yeah, I want to see it. Yes. Do you see any university in operation in one form or the other from Morocco? Morocco. This is in Italy that you have given me. 1088. Am I correct? Ah, got it. Thank you. You have given me the answer to that question. So this is not for a quiz question. I am asking myself a question. Why after all Oxford and Cambridge? I'm sure there are some good political science students in the audience. Or even if you are not, you can always scrutinize my statement that I'm going to make. That, let us say that a commonly known This University of Paris is 1150. France. University of Cambridge, as far as I am able to see, it is 1209. All of them are AD only. And University of Oxford, 1096. So let us concentrate on either Oxford or Cambridge or France. It doesn't matter. They are more than 1,000 years old. Right? 1096. So that means around 1,000 years it has passed. Around 1,000 years. Do you agree or not agree? Do you agree? Somebody should write, yeah, yes, sir. Otherwise, I'll understand that. Okay, next question. Next question, Priya. Next question is for you. Next question is you. Now I have caught you, Priya. I can see your name. So, can you tell me that was there a political change in 1,000 years? If the government had changed, if the ruling dispensation had changed, and yet they are surviving, do you agree? If they are surviving, I'm asking myself, that's enough. Now you look at the question. If the political change has taken place, the governments have changed, the political system has drastically changed, I'm asking myself a question, and I request you to ask yourself also this question. What is that kept them alive, surviving for 1,000 years? Continuously. It's not a joke. I believe, and I am sure, if you go out, you will also believe that it is the internal vital element of the higher education system. That means if there are elements that are independent of the political dispensation, it is their vital element. In case you can preserve it, you can live longer. You can means the university system can live longer. Now, by contrast, if you permit external interference by the power, that may be. I'm not saying this political party or that political party, this government or that government. No. I'm saying that in case you want to retain the vitality of your institution, then you are not supposed to be yielding to the pressure of the power. You are trying to educate the population. You are trying to give them the better human being. You are trying to give empowered people, right? Who can think, who can create, who can contribute to the society as a whole. And in a present context, right? When you look around, you see so many tensions are there. Two countries are fighting for years together. And they don't listen to anybody. Why? Because the vitality of the learning process has been killed. They are subservient to the power. So the people are disconnected. People feel, okay, these higher education people, they are fit for nothing. So it's sufficient if we have 1 square meal a day, right? If we have mobile phone, if we have free ration. Is this the way that democracy will survive? Is this the way that the vital element will survive? It will survive only when, in case you can preserve institution And in the concrete case, what are our institutions? We should be able to say that our academic council will decide, our senate will decide, our BOG will decide, our executive council will decide, without feeling external pressure. In case you can feel it, then only you can have the best institution. Unfortunately, we are unable to compete with them because the vital element of education is missing. What is the vital element of education? It should empower our student from within. It should open the horizon. It should permit them to ask questions. It should permit them to argue out whether that question is relevant or not. They should be able to scrutinize based on logic. And in case you apply logic, that means you are sure you are trying to apply a scientific temper. You are practicing scientific temper. You are applying scientific outlook. And this is independent of the discipline, my dear friend. And this is what is the most important thing. So, how are we going to strengthen the vital element of a campus? See, we have argued that if institutions have survived for 1,000 years, the political change must have taken place, and yet they are continuously functioning, of course, in the change environment, and they must have changed themselves. It is not the same old syllabus. The new needs must have come. They have incorporated it, but survived. Most important is survive. Then we argue out just now that there must have been some vital element of the higher education per se, which is independent of the political power. That professors like you and I have said, no, there is no way of compromising. Right? If that argument is correct, then we must know how to build a good higher education system. Okay? Since we have lot of examples, we have lot of examples of the higher education system. See, now you cannot be forgetting, why are we emphasizing on the higher education system? Because we require good graduate to teach at the school level, for example. And good graduates are to be produced in good university. So the definition of a good university we must have. Those good universities also have very good elevated level of the vital element of education. Therefore, we must understand it. And those of you who are knowing about Karl Jasper must have read by now that he was a professionally trained clinical psychologist from Heidelberg, Germany. And during the tyrannies, Hitler tyrannies, he refused to go back to Heidelberg to teach. But after the fall of Hitler, his students has prevailed and said that no, in case you are not coming as the chair, we will not go to attend Heidelberg University. Then he said that I will not teach clinical psychology. The president of the university, whatever the equivalent to the vice chancellor, must have said, Professor Jasper, you can teach whatever you like, but you better join, because best of the junior colleagues of your place, they refuse to teach at our place. And then with that, he had joined. And then finally, he became a philosopher, existentialist. Those of you who are a student of philosophy and clinical psychology must have read name of Professor Jaspers in both contexts. Right. Now, the first prescription that Jasper is giving us, that you should be clear about the purpose and the method, right? That what is the purpose and what should be the method to fulfill those purpose. This is the first prescription that I'm saying as triad 1. That means I am going to give you example of 3 triads, and each triad having 3 components. So how many components I am going to give you? ये तो बोलना पड़ेगा, you are supposed to be speaking. 3 triads I am going to give. 3 multiplied by 3, na? So I am going to give you 9 points, basically. Yes. That's great. So in the 9 points, I am now the first triad with title of purpose and method. And the first one is very basic component, right? What is the basic component that you are dealing with, a college education system or the university education system? It is common for both of us, for both of them. You must have an academic teaching program. This is point number 1. Yes, it must have an academic teaching program. It should be conducting scientific and scholarly research. Right? This is how the university has to be classified. If you cannot have the scholarly research, you better close down the university. And what are the domain of the scholarly research? This may vary with respect to time. But outlook and the temperament cannot change. You want to investigate, there are some newer challenges, newer problems, they must be addressed. If need be, you can open new discipline too. New area of research, new departments, amalgamate them, bifurcate them, right? That means you can come together or remain aloof. Whatever you want to do, it do. But you must conduct a scholarly investigation. That should be scientific. And man, you must investigate the changing character of man, changing character of nature, as well as their interaction. Right? Man has affected nature, and the nature has also affected us. That you should realize. Right? Latest one is of course, the corona virus. Okay? And then the third is very important. It says it must have a creative cultural life. How do you know that you have a creative cultural life? That means the student starts asking questions together. That means they come to your room, they ask you some question, you ask him or her some question, and you start enjoying. Then you will be saying that, oh dear, now we got bored, we do not know which direction to go. Let's go outside. So you go to the playground. That means all university system and the college campuses must have a playground. Okay. Now, suppose that a part of the student and the teacher will say that, no, I cannot play art. I feel like reciting a poem. I want to be a part of drama, dramatics. then you must have a center of culture where people can dance, people can enjoy, people can write poetry, people can do painting. If all these things are there, along with the classroom teaching, then it will be a creative cultural life. But lifeblood of the university is the scholarly research. You must have scholarly research. It has its own pleasure, and that pleasure you are going to exchange with your students. You do that scholarly research with your students at the higher level, but suddenly you will find, oh, I am teaching the same subject for the last 10 years, but I am giving them something new. Giving them something new, 3%, suppose that next year, 6% next year, 18% after 5 years. You will feel that you are elevated from within. And if you get elevated, if you are enjoying your profession, your students will also enjoy. This is the most important point of this purpose and the method. And in case you are conducting scholarly research, they will become closer to you, right? You just on a project, you start working with your UG students, for example. Be it theoretical project, be it field studies, or looking at nature and trying to argue out together. This is how the project is formed. Not always that I need a laboratory. No, I'm not saying that. So the student will come closer because you do not know the answer. You do not know how to describe the natural surrounding. So maybe a student who is a student of, let's say, humanistic studies, he comes out and gives you a beautiful metaphor. And you enjoy it. So together you enjoy. Right? In case you can do that, then it's a lively activities. Can't you see, therefore, the scientific research and scholarly contribution from you as an institution will keep the vital element intact? Because when you do scholarly research and the scientific investigation, you come out something new insight into the problem, into the topic, into a problem, into the same teaching that you had been doing. I wish you had in the class, you were with me in the physical class. I would have demonstrated what does it mean. Right? So, first stride is over. We have said that it must have the academic teaching program, which everybody understands it. Little bit understanding is required, emphasis is required on the scientific and the scholarly research, and equal importance must be given to the creative cultural life. And the fourth one that I would like to add, which is the part of the outreach program. You should be able to go out and see in case you can help the surrounding. Be it man, be it society, be it nature, wherever it is. And this is what, that point I'll not be able to cover it today because I have still the two track to be discussed, so I'll not do it today. So, how are we going to survive longer? For excellence in the university, And for the vitality, which is closely related to excellence, is to grow together. See, if only one person is good and others are bad, how can you survive? Then as an institution, don't flourish. That's why never go for the hero worship until there is a collective response to a harder problem. No, please mute yourself. Hello, please mute yourself. Thank you. Okay, so this cannot be a pastime. I'm working so hard to communicate. Okay, so now you come back to the another triad, and that triad is the science and scholarship itself. How do you know that you have conducted a scientific research as well as it's a scholarly contribution? Is that question clear? See, in the purpose and method, I have said the purpose is to conduct what was the term? Scientific and the scholarly research. Now, in the triad 2, Jasper is trying to tell us, how do you know that it is scientific and the scholarly research you have conducted? Right? How do you? Now, how to do that? It says, the book is saying us, that means Jasper is saying us based on his huge experience, both as a clinical psychologist, then perhaps in the banishment due to Hitler, and then rejoining Heidelberg, and finally conducting research on philosophy, and became existentialist. It says that in case you have adopted a method which is scientific and you have applied the cogent reason to arrive at the conclusion of your findings, right? And the outcome that you have got in that process has got an universal appeal. Many people believe that university education, eventually, maybe after 10 years, if I have not contributed anything in the university system, which has got in my discipline some universal appeal, that means you have wasted your time. Your institution will not be remembered at all. That means you have not contributed to the vital element of that. If you have not contributed to the vitality, that means your institution will die anytime. Right? So the famous quote is that if they ask you to bend, you will start crawling. Yes, so it has to be methodical, cogent, and there should be some universal appeal in the outcome that you have arrived at. And this has nothing to this discipline or that discipline. This statement is universal, and therefore scientific outlook and the scientific temper is universal. And this is what Jawaharlal Nehru has understood it. If you look at his writing, he makes it very, very clear that scientific outlook, scientific temper should be the way of life. Otherwise, inclusive development will not take place. I am not going to elaborate further on this because I have something else also to say. And that is where I'm going to end. Now the third triad, very, very important, my dear friend. As a practitioner of education, I do not know at what level you are going to utilize my statement of of this form of education? I do not know that. Right? So, you practice all three. See, the first triad I have said already, second triad I have said, now this is the third triad. And this third triad is about the form of education. How do you impart your knowledge to your student? Very correct. Right? And this is what flavor I have already given you. You should be able to recognize what I was trying to hinting at. It says, most of us, we believe in scholastic instruction. Right from the primary school days to first year university. And some of us, we imitate it even up to MA level, master degree level, which is so hopeless according to me. So in scholastic instruction, teachers are supposed to pass on well-known facts, and hence they can be replaced by any other teachers, including modern-day artificial intelligence machine. That's why I laugh at. How can I be only imparting scholastic instruction? I'm not a dictionary. I'm not encyclopedia. I'm a living human being. I have some other things to do as well, right? I can see it differently. What meaning is fixed, right? AI has got a fixed answer to all your questions. They cannot think of differently because they are programmed. Human being can never be programmed. You never know what this human being can do, both in good sense of the term and the worst sense of the term, right? That's why you require a social interaction. If you can understand society and nature, then the chances are that you are going to do good to the people are more. So in scholastic instruction, it's a mechanical transfer of knowledge. Again, I'm repeating. In scholastic instruction, it's a mechanical transfer of knowledge to your kid, to your student, to your ward, to your pupil. P-U-P-I-L wala pupil. Right? Then dictionary can help us or AI can help us. And in case you continue to be in the mode of the scholastic instruction, then you can be replaced by machine. Now, second prescription. Okay, I wish I had the ability to understand them myself, but no, until I see Jasper, I cannot do it. Second one is the apprenticeship. In apprenticeship, a competent person, well adapted in skill, imparts apprenticeship. For example, in engineering, I am constructing one example. Suppose that first time you have seen the lathe machine as a first year student, and there is a well-trained machinist. He comes and demonstrates how to fix up the job for machining in the lathe machine. You will be surprised to see the kind of skill that he has. Right? This is what the apprenticeship is all about. You require this skill set. Right? So if higher education is stopping at apprenticeship, then you are trying to impart only the skill set. Is that correct or not? Then you better have ITI only. Why do you require a university? You don't require university. Let there be no degree awarding institution. It should stop at diploma, not diploma of Germany. That's a very elevated diploma. Right? Diploma. Only skill set. Scholastic instruction and apprenticeship. This is not the way that university should be known. Then here comes, and permit me to dwell on it a little bit more extensively so that it becomes clear to you why scholastic tradition, why apprenticeship cannot be the ultimate aim of the university system. That doesn't impart you the vitality. Vitality comes because of the interaction of the student and the teacher. Right? And that must be promoted. How does it get promoted? Now we'll be trying to do that. That is the third and the last kind of business that I have to talk to you. Therefore, we'll be committing a Himalayan blunder if we keep emphasizing only the skill set at the cost of elevating individuals from within, a concept that imparts inner strength to the system of higher education. If you stop everything at the skill level, right, then what happens is that the inner strength of the university, higher education system, the vitality that I was referring to, is totally lost. Okay? If that is totally lost, then any tyranny can finish you. Any political power can finish you. They will say, I'm giving you the money. Then you have to listen to me. Arey Baba, there is a something like internationally agreed upon method of recognizing a discipline. How do I permit you to do that? You want your university system to be irrelevant? Then we will be subservient to the power at our own peril. In case you stop at the skill set, right, your peer group will not recognize you as a part of the university system, I can tell you. They will understand, oh, this university as a whole does not have any vital element of education. Higher education, sorry. Vital element of higher education. They can either be ITI or diploma giving. They cannot be degree giving institution. Any degree giving institution must have the inner force to survive. And that inner force comes by nurturing the Socratic tradition. What is the Socratic tradition? Where both the teachers and the taught are seekers of truth in the own domain, in the domain that they have chosen to work together, right? Why do you want the seekers of the truth in that discipline must be there in the university system? Because the discipline must grow. If discipline doesn't grow, then your thought will not be able to address the problem of tomorrow that the society and the nature is going to face in days to come. Therefore, always you should be propagating, my dear friend, that look, education is not only for today, it's for tomorrow. You are preparing your graduate for tomorrow. So how do you stop at the skill set? Their thought process must be open. right? The window must be open, as I was telling you. They should be able to choose the best textbook. Okay? Every day I'm trying to do this in the classroom, and I ask them that, can you go to the library and get me the best textbook on this subject? In case you can bring it, I'll not take any examination for you. Okay? As you must be knowing that we are in a privileged position, so we can do that. And till now, nobody has given me any kind of that you are not teaching well. So I'm safe. So, in what way you will feel? See, my basic aim to demonstrate the vitality. Now, how do you know that scholastic tradition is the elementary way of imparting instruction, right? That anybody can do with practice. Therefore, it will have the reflection of social tradition and hierarchy, right? Please mind my statement. I'm saying that in case you are only engaged in this scholarly tradition, it will have the hierarchy, it will have the reflection of the societal tradition. So, in this case, you will have blind faith in your teacher, blind faith in the machine, blind faith in the encyclopedia, blind faith in the critic of a good text. That means the discipline has stopped there. The area of research has stopped there. And if it is there, that means it is a dead subject. It is a dead discipline. University system cannot thrive on a dead knowledge stream. It has to innovate, it has to grow. And for growing, it has to come out of the scholastic tradition. Right? In the second case of apprenticeship, you have respect for the master. You are always after a teacher or an instructor who is able to demonstrate the machine to you. I'm not saying that the scholastic tradition is not important. I'm not saying that the apprenticeship is not important. Please don't mistake me. I'm saying that in case you want the vital force to be there, there you cannot afford to stop. You have to come back to the Socratic tradition. In Socratic tradition, it permits you to impart a status of mind where you grow mentally. Let me try to construct an example. Suppose that you have constructed a problem for your student where you do not have the answer. That means you are in the unknown domain. कृपया इसको ठीक से समझिए, नहीं तो vitality नहीं समझ में आएगी. All my lecture will collapse. Only 5 to 6 minutes you must concentrate. So, I have constructed a problem for my student who has the tendency to do research, be it UG level, PG level, or PhD level. I frankly tell him or her that, look, this is a outstanding problem in this area. Can you think of? Maybe student get excited, or maybe student get frustrated that this old man, he could not solve this problem. Now he is asking me to solve the problem. This can also happen. I am taking a rosy picture. And that rosy picture is that the student gets excited. So he tries to, suppose that this is an experimental problem or it requires some field work. So he goes for field work and he finds something which is opposed to the hypothesis of the professors. His or her professor. The professor is very upset. The boy is excited, the girl is excited that he has done this faithfully, the groundwork or the field work or conducted the experiment correctly. He has run the program successfully. By program means computer program, right? He tested the convergence properly, but the gray hair professor says, you cannot be teaching me. I have this much year of experience. This old professor forgot totally that he claimed while giving the problem, this problem is not solved. Therefore, the teacher and the taught both are novice in that area. Now, once the student is trying to come back with some result, the old man is trying to interpret it differently and fires him or her that, come on, I have the 40 years of experience in this area. I have read at least 400 papers. You have not yet read 40 papers, right? If a Democrat professor is there like me, the student can say, but well, sir, I have done this very, very faithfully. Right? Then that democratic professor will think in the night and call the student early morning. And he will say that, well, dear, whatever you are saying may be correct. So the student feels happy. He goes and had very good dance party with his friend that today my professor is very happy with my work. Following morning, the student comes to professor's office and the student is saying, I'm sorry, sir, that whatever I've said is a wrong hypothesis. Now the professor is totally upset that, come on, yesterday you were arguing out that this hypothesis must be correct. And today you are saying that the hypothesis is wrong. Then the boy says that I have to argue out again about my hypothesis. Then maybe the boy or the girl comes with a new interpretation of the result. And when he or she comes with the new interpretation of the result, the professor doesn't agree. Professor agrees, student doesn't agree. Student agrees, professor doesn't agree. And therefore, they are travelers in the unknown domain. And in that process, both of them, they are trying to grow from within. Right? If they are growing from within, will any external force will say that you do not understand your area? My goodness. The young student has gone for the field work. He has seen the convergence of the problem in the solution. He has conducted the experiment faithfully. And he will listen to the political power that your experiment is not correct or anybody is not correct. He will only look for the peer group, the experts in the area, right? Therefore, in the Socratic tradition, the teacher and the taught both are at the same place. Now, in Socratic tradition, you all can say that the student will have no respect for the professor. You are wrong. Students remember you only when you start showing some kind of, you are attentive to the argument that your student is giving. You try to practice it. You'll feel that, and after that, the student will have a respect to your scholarship. In higher education system, my dear friends, you have to have respect out of your scholarship, not virtue of your position. If that respect has come by virtue of your position, then a person who is elevated, which is higher pedestal than you, will be able to influence him for no knowledge, for no scholarship. And therefore, the vital element of the university system will collapse again. And hence my hypothesis is, for thousands of years, if the university system has survived, whose examples you people have seen, right? And some of you are aware that the Cambridge and the Oxford, all of them are more than 900 or 1,000 years old. If that statement of ours is correct, then our argument that there is certain vital element of the university that must be preserved, and that you can preserve it through the Socratic tradition. There is no other way in which you can do this. Some of you are joining so late, so good. You have learned my Socratic tradition exposure, so that's the great. And therefore, I believe that you know that any excellent university must nurture Socratic tradition, must permit scope, not must permit. It's even harder than that. It should only permit Socratic tradition at the end of the journey, right? And in case you can have it, both teacher and the taught will say that I am the master of this discipline. I understand this problem very well. Until this assertion is there, you are not part of excellence, you are not part of higher education system. You may be a specialized intellectual, but definitely not, you don't qualify to be a part of excellence. Okay? To be a part of excellence, both teacher and the taught should be able to make an excursion between the known and the unknown domain. And this is what I wanted to convey, that the skill set cannot be the end point of the higher education system. And many of us get carried away by this skill set. My dear friend, don't bore me. At least I have some 40 years of experience in this area. I have understood a little bit. I don't claim to be a great professor, but I definitely claim to be a sincere teacher. And I understand it, that known and the unknown domain, right? Excursion, traveling between the known and the unknown domain, because the teacher and the taught both are seekers of truth. If this can be established on a campus, the campus life will be just beautiful, and the teacher and the taught both will enjoy living together and sharing their knowledge, their excitement together. Until this stage has come, you cannot survive as an academic institution of higher learning. I hope I should stop here in case you have any question. One by one, either you can, I will mute myself until you ask me to react, then I'll unmute myself and tell you the answer to this question if I deem fit. One by one only, yes. Anybody who wants to react, please unmute yourself. The moment I see that any of you are speaking, I'll unmute myself for better communication. Or you can write your reaction even in the chat box. आप लोग सब चले गए हैं क्या? You all have left me.
No, sir.
So please react. Please react, yaar. So Sweta has asked a question. In case everybody can read it, na, that chat box. One of you, other than Sweta, should confirm me. Akash, are you able to read it? Yes, wonderful. So now, I am asking you a question that suppose that I am teaching a poem, right? That means I am a teacher of literature and I am teaching a poem. Why don't you listen to the interpretation of your student? Maybe he understands that poetry better than you. And this is how the interaction starts. You have to consciously devote time by listening to your student. Unfortunately, in many of the places, it is difficult for you to practice. But in case you can practice, I can tell you, you will not be going to any other profession if the next life exists. You will say, Ki, I would continue as a teacher if possible. This is what I believe. See, this confusion this nation also has as a whole, but yet we do not have the best institution of the world. Let us realize it. Okay? And management education system is not a education system. By education, we normally mean as a sincere teacher that you should be able to elevate you from within. All managerial positions, all charter accountancy and all, in case you people are getting confused that they are doing service to the human being, you are wrong. They are subservient to the corporate houses. So therefore, it cannot be the part of the complete education system. That's why these management people, they never asked me to come and make this education business very, very clearly. So you permit them to live in that illusion, but you don't have the illusion. You try to forget about those who are not listening to you. Do you know that what is a good teacher? A good teacher is one, the defiants are brought to the deviant and the deviants are brought to the mainstream. So you try to strive that. This is the best prescription that I can give you. Or what is the name of your college? Parimita. Name of your college. Where are you located?
Hello.
Where are you located, I'm saying?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm working in a school.
Okay. Oh, school is a wonderful place. I wish I had the time to teach in the school. Okay. Such a lovely, I had gone to interact with the class 7 or class 6. Do you know what I have done? You listen to all of you. These children are very naughty people and I love them. They have to be naughty. So what I have done is that I started counting their teeth. So they said, what is this? I said, no, I want to count the teeth. What is your problem? The problem is that this is how Plato and Aristotle were there where they are supposed to be. Galileo said, no, in case I have to find out what is the average human being having the number of teeth, and this is how it has to be. So they all got excited. So on the spot, you have to construct some example so that they feel very happy. Devote some extra time in case you want to grow. Amya, you have to take out extra time. Otherwise, the Socratic tradition will not be. And then you don't aspire for that you will be part of the excellent tradition. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I'm very harsh in that. Anything more? See, we all have to be very, very creative. And the creative means Socratic tradition. There is no other way. See, you should be ready to be humiliated, intellectually humiliated by your own student. Then only you can grow. They should bore you. And there is nothing wrong about it. If I do not know, I do not know. Right? And I have constructed an unknown problem. So in the class, I have never taught, I think they were class 3 or class 5. So the headmaster told me that, sir, can you address our student? I think she was trying to test me. I said, yes, if they are a student, if they can understand Hindi and English, the two languages that I speak, I can dance with them. Absolutely no problem. I can still dance with all my students. There is no problem. Okay. So this is what I have done. And the famous thing is that Plato never believed that, with due apology to my sisters, and that women cannot afford to have 32 teeth. Do you laugh or not? Because they were not party to the Socratic tradition. They never bothered to investigate it. So I know that the Socratic tradition is the only way, however harsh it is. You know that Galileo Galilei, when he was coming out of the trial, he whispered. The historian are saying, I was not there. Nobody could be there to do that. So the Galileo said, it moves nevertheless. He was so much convinced about his conclusion that he said, आपके लिए पृथ्वी स्थिर होगी, the earth may be stationary. That's your problem. But the nature has convinced me, it moves nevertheless. That's the famous saying. Yes. Have I constructed some interesting example for you people or not? Now, never be subservient to skill set. You should argue out. And never yield to those people who are saying that since the management is paying you, therefore you have to listen to the management. Baba, you are not expert. You are expert on money. You are not expert on the subject. So mind your business. Ho gaya, Babu? Should I go now? Should I say thank you to all of you, my dear friend, in case you have enjoyed? Even if you don't enjoy, you have to, I have to say thank you.
Sorry, sir. Sir, excuse me, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Please.
Sir, what is the meaning of equality in teaching?
What is the meaning of equality? Can you elaborate it further? I have not understood you.
Sir, you just told us now that is a equality in teaching between the students. So if you distinguish the students as their brains or other...
No. It was based on the social reality.
Okay, sir.
It was based on the social reality. Sorry.
Okay.
sometime. That's why you should be in the class, physical class.
Yes.
Not
Okay.
this.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So with this, I think I must close. I don't see any question in the chat box. So thank you very much, one and all, for giving me the time. Okay, thank you very much. I'll be offline. Okay. Thank you very much.